Hello class, this is your teacher Mr. McDougall, and this is your next Photoshop tutorial. For this one, I briefly just want to talk about the type of filter and tool we are going to use because it is often the most controversial type of tool in Photoshop, and that is the ability to liquify subjects. So in Photoshop, there's a lot of principles and theories about how photos should be manipulated. And this is something you'll see in popular magazines and social media posts and things where people use Photoshop to manipulate their bodies. So what you can see right here, we have a picture of Mariah Carey. This is the before picture, but then in the post-production after Photoshop, they have made some tweaks to her body to make her look as presentable as possible. And whatever your feelings are on this, some people don't think it's a problem. Other people think that the way you portray your body image is a problem. So this is something I just want you to understand that this is present pretty much everywhere. 90% of the photos you see, especially of celebrities, are pretty much fake for the most part. As you can see from this other example, this was a Calvin Klein underwear ad that Justin Bieber did. This was the original photo, and then this is the photo that ended up making it into the magazine itself. You can see where there's notable differences in his size. They gave him a little bit of extra size in more ways than one to fill out the magazine cover. And as you can tell, as you see the before and after, that things have been changed. The next one is actually an example of Zendaya, who is opposed to body changing and morphing through Photoshop. This is a post where she called out a magazine who had tweaked her without her permission. So this is the original photo that was taken, and then this is the one that was presented in the magazine. You can see what they did here. They kind of tightened her waist a little bit. They made her legs a little bit skinnier as they bended her body a little bit, and she, rightly so, was not okay with it, and they corrected their mistake because she is body positive and not shaming and presenting her natural self. So wherever you lie on the subject, I would agree with Zendaya that it's important to present yourself naturally as best you can. When it comes to Photoshop, in my opinion, it is okay to Photoshop stuff as long as people know it's Photoshop. When we're doing Photoshop stuff, we're having a lot of fun. We're doing things that are obviously Photoshop, but we're not trying to pass it off as this is legitimate, this is what I really look like. When you get into that sense where you're lying to people about what you look like or you're trying to make people believe false things, that's where we cross a moral and ethical line into lying about our work. So I want that to keep in mind as we play around with the Liquify filter. And that is the topic for today. So I'm going to show you how to use Liquify, and we're going to use it for some pretty crazy, wacky stuff and changing people's bodies, essentially. So we're going to have fun with it, but let me show you how it works. So as always, download today's exercise files and open them all up in Photoshop. So pause the video right now, take a second to do that if you haven't already, and join me back here at Liquify 01. So the first thing we're going to do for all of these is to turn them into smart objects or convert for smart filters, because once we add the Liquify, if it's not a smart object, that will be permanent destructive editing. So we're going to do convert to smart object, so we'll do non-destructive editing. We can always change. So convert to smart object. Now it's smart, it has icons, so anything I add to it can be fixed. So let's go up and explore the Liquify feature. So go up to filter, and then go to Liquify. You can see it's all here in its own little tab because it's so important. We're going to click Liquify. It's going to open up this new menu, and you have a brush that applies the same shortcut brush properties, and there's several types of Liquify brushes right over here. Let's start with this default one, which is the forward warp tool. What the forward warp tool is it just pushes things around to bend them. So what you can see here is if I kind of push down here, I can click, hold, and drag. You can see I'm pushing kind of the wrinkle of his shirt down. I'm getting rid of that. And this is something you might see when you have small imperfections like wrinkled clothing or something that's sticking out. We can use the Liquify tool to kind of push it back. I'm clicking, holding, and pushing to clear this out. If you end up going too far, you might do it where it doesn't belong. Like if I push and warp right here, I can do something like that with his foot. The other tool over here, I'm going to go through most of these right here. This one's called the reconstruct tool. So say you did something like this that you didn't mean to. Anything you go over with the reconstruct tool will do exactly that. It'll reconstruct it back to the original. So other than Control Z, you can do reconstruct to put it back to the way it was. The smooth tool doesn't do much, so we're going to skip that one. This twirl one can be a lot of fun. Can adjust it. This one, you're just going to click and hold. Anywhere you click and hold will twist or twirl the subject or the particular area, just like that. So if I wanted to twist him, bend his foot around a little bit, I can. This one is called the pucker tool. So this one will kind of suck in an area and make it smaller. So let's say I want his hand to be tiny right here. I'm going to click on that, click and hold, and you can see I just made his hand really tiny. The bloat tool does the exact opposite of the pucker. The bloat will increase the size of something. So say I want this fist to be bigger. If I click and hold, now he's got a massive fist, or even, let's say, a massive head. I can click and hold and kind of make his head blow up like a balloon. Now he's got a giant head. These other ones right here, this one's called freeze mask. So with the freeze mask, it will allow me to protect a certain area. So let's say his arm right here. If I draw a freeze mask like this red area is now protected from the Liquify tool. So if I try to use a forward warp, if I try to bend it right here, you can see the arm gets bent, but not this red area. Anything in this red area is safe from the Liquify tool. If I want to get rid of it, it would be with the thaw one. So the freeze one will freeze an area. The thaw one does the exact opposite. The thaw will remove any of these areas if you decide to change your mind and mess around with it. So have fun kind of messing with this guy. Do whatever you want. Again, I want you to have fun with this tool. It is a silly tool to create things you wouldn't expect. And then once you're done, you can click OK. And remember, we did the smart object, so we could turn this on and off. If you did not do a smart object, whatever you just liquefied him would be permanent. So you can see some of the weird, wacky stuff we've done with this fella. Do the same thing on Liquify 02. Convert this girl into a smart object and then have fun kind of bending her around however you wish. And then once you're done, we will meet on Liquify 03. So pause the video right now, bend her around, have fun, and then let's go to Liquify 03. Okay, on Liquify 03, we're going to do the thing I showed you at the beginning about adjusting people's body shape. So we're going to help this guy out. We're going to do him a little bit of a favor. Let's convert him to a smart object. And for this one, we're not going to mess around. We're going to take it a little bit seriously. I'm going to show you what you can do to transform people. So he's a smart object. Let's go up to filter and let's go to Liquify. So for this one, we're going to help him out. He's not in the best shape, but let's get him in shape, shall we? So this one, we're not going to do anything crazy just yet. We're just going to help him out. Let's push, use the forward warp tool. Make sure you're on the forward warp tool. Let's start pushing in his stomach a little bit. And you can see what's starting to happen. Push out so it's smooth, so you don't have these weird divots like that. It looks unreal. This one we do want to look natural. We're going to pretend this one is real. As you get smaller areas, you can make your brush a little bit smaller. I don't want to bend his jeans or anything all weird. So smooth out these little spots right here to make it look nice and smooth. There we go. So just tighten up his stomach a little bit. Look at that. Lost all that weight right before the holidays. Sounds good. Now he's looking good. Let's help him out a little bit on the other side too. He's got a little bit of a hunch on his back, so let's push that in just a little bit. Push in his backside just a hair. No pun intended. And then let's clean up his neck a little bit. Let's help him out right here. I know he's trying to self-conscious about his neck, so we're gonna just do him a little bit of a favor. Push that guy in right there. Look at him. Look at all that weight he's lost. And now let's give him the Justin Bieber treatment and bulk him up a little bit. Let's go to the bloat tool, and we can bloat a little bit in his chest right there. Just little clicks, little small clicks. You can see as I'm clicking right here, kind of puffing out his chest. Not going too hard. I don't want it to look too fake. And then let's do the same thing. Let's make his guns a little bit bigger. Blow up those biceps with the bloat tool. There we go. We got muscles for days now. Excellent. So now he's looking pretty good. And we'll click OK. So you can see again the before and the after. Before Photoshop, after Photoshop. We made this guy in killer shape, no gym required, and now he looks great. He's even a little bit buffer. Now he's ready for his Calvin Klein ad. Okay, so that one we took seriously. However, in Liquify number 4, this one I give you permission to have fun with this one. Do as much as you want with the Liquify and all its brushes. Just experiment and take your time. Give me your best shot with this guy. Do whatever you want with the Liquify features. So do that, and then when you're done, we can meet back on Neural O1s. So pause this video, have fun messing around with this guy, and then join me here when you're ready. Okay, so for this one, we are going to use Liquify and a couple other features to particularly mess around with faces, which is why these next batches have people's faces. So same as the others, let's convert it into a smart object first. Good. Now we're going to go back up to Liquify again, filter, Liquify. So for this one, we're not going to use any of these tools over here just yet. I'll give you permission to do that in a little bit. We're actually going to come over here to where it says face aware Liquify. Yours might be collapsed. Whether or not it is, just click this arrow to open it up, and it will say it detected a face. So face 1 right here, it detected that there's one face in the shot, so we can mess around specifically with the features of the face. Like the eyes right here, I can adjust eye size. So see his left eye, or the left side of his face right here as I adjust this, making his eye bigger or smaller. You can click this link to link both eyes together, and now they'll both be affected. Or you can click to unlink to move one at a time. So I can click all these links to make sure they're connected. I can mess with eye height, bigger or smaller like that, or width. I want you to mess around with these, do whatever you want to drastically change this, and then tilt, kind of tilt the way it is. Let's go like this, and then distance is another one. I can make the eyes close together or further apart. Let's go further apart. And we could even mess around with the nose and mouth. All this stuff. Just have fun messing around, changing these people's shapes. So this guy was self-conscious about his nose. Make it a little bit bigger. And then the mouth. We can increase the smile a little bit. So it's a serious face. I go, you know what? He needs a smile. So let's make him smile just a little bit. Upper lip, we can make it bigger or smaller. Same with the lower lip. Play around with all these sliders, just kind of messing around with changing this guy's face. Let's make his mouth smaller and a little bit teeny tinier. And then face shape is the last one you can mess around with. So like his forehead, give him a 5 head, a little bit bigger. Make his chin a little bit smaller or bigger. Maybe a thinner chin line, bigger jawline, and a skinnier head. Who knows? Why not? And then click OK. So again, you can see before and after the Liquify looks like a completely different person based on that. So you can do the same thing on this one. So these next ones, I want you to do the same thing, just kind of mess around. This whole lesson is for just exploring and messing around. You can go to Liquify, use the same things, adjust the face, and you can also push around at the same time. You could push around with the forward warp, you can adjust the eye size. Just explore, have fun with it, be silly, and let me know what you got. On this one, you're going to do the same thing, but you can actually adjust multiple faces that has been detected by the software. So if I go to convert to smart object for this one, if I go to the filter Liquify, this one you can see right here, it says select face. This one has detected that there's multiple faces right here. So I can do face 01, 02, 3, and it numbers right here. It'll show you as you start to tune it. So whatever face 01 is, if I start messing around, it is this girl right here is the first face. There's no particular order. It just detects how many faces are in there. The other thing you can do besides the Liquify one is neural filters. So with this one, we can go up to filter and go to neural filters, which is why these exercise files are called neural filters. So go to neural filters and come over here. Skip this part for right now. Come over here to Smart Portrait and download Smart Portrait. This will just take a second to download, and this similarly allows you to really alter people's faces. So you can see right here, select face, it's detected 5 faces. And let's start with this guy. We can adjust the happiness level. So he's a little happy. Let's bring it down and see what happens. It'll load. It's going to use the AI features and other pictures of people it finds on the internet to determine these emotions and things. And you never know what you're going to get, so let's just see what happens. It'll take a minute the first time, and then after that it'll go a little bit faster. So I made him less happy. He was smiling, and you know what? Now he's not as happy. Maybe let's increase his facial age. Made him a little bit older. Thin out his hair a little bit. And then change his eye direction. There we go. You can also change his expression. Maybe he's more surprised. Or maybe he's a little bit more angry. And it might change a little bit, it might not change, so not a ton of change there, but that's okay. You can change head direction. So it looks like he's pointed a little bit to the right or to the left. Turn like that. We can also switch. So you have the option to change all their faces. You can see it detected this guy's face too. So mess around with all of these. Just kind of messing around with each one. And you can also go back in and do the Liquify also. We could do the neural filters and we could do the Liquify filters right on top of each other. So this one, if I make him a little bit happier, he's even super happy. And I can click OK. Remember, it's a smart object, so you could turn it on and off. So I made them look completely different. We could even do the same thing with these ones. I already tweaked this guy. I can add some neural filters to him too. So go to the smart portrait, turn that one on, and same thing. Maybe let's make him a little bit more happy. He seems happy the way he looks, but I think he could be happier. So this one usually takes the longest. The other ones will change a little bit faster, but it's scouring the internet for pictures of people smiling. And look at that. Look how happy he is now. Make him a little bit older. There we go. And thicker hair. And just see what you can come up with. So that I can have both. I can have the neural filters turned on and the Liquify, or I can hide all of it and make them look back to normal. So with all these, mess around. Even this last one, I give you permission to mess around with the Liquify and the neural filters. Just have fun being silly with all of these things and show me your best work manipulating people's bodies with the Liquify options. Have fun. Take all your screenshots as usual. Screenshot everything, all the weird stuff that you created, and attach them to this assignment. I hope you have a lot of fun, and let me know if you have any questions.